Tyler Hero, baby. ESPN Plus article came out today. Shams behind a paywall. He's at ESPN now. And if you guys don't want to subscribe to them, that's why you subscribe to us, because we're going to read the article for you. And we're going to give you the information.
We got to pick a side account for ESPN Plus?
I don't even know. I use my personal, but because I have Disney Plus, I have Hulu and stuff.
Yeah,
so I got the whole bundle.
I can share.
Yeah. So these are the main takeaways from the article. Then we could hone in on one and then speak about that. Eyes will be on Jimmy Butler and Brandon Ingram. Butler has a player option after this year. Ingram is on an expiring contract. Teams have also inquired about CJ McCollum and Herb Jones' availability. The Heat are open to listening to Jimmy Butler trade offers. Next up, the Nets are open to trading Cam Johnson, DFS, and Schroeder. In the article, the Warriors were the only team mentioned with interest in all three players. So all three of them, DFS, Cam Johnson, and Schroeder.
Take them all.
But there's also tweets from some credible sources, Evan Siddery, who's from Forbes, NBA, that Cam Johnson's trade market is the Grizzlies, Magic, Kings, Lakers, and Warriors.
Yeah.
The Pacers are actively pursuing a backup center. James Wiseman and Isaiah Jackson injury has led to that.
Yeah,
the Blazers, multiple teams have expressed interest in Jeremy Grant, Anthony Simons, and Rob Will. And the Wizards, several contending teams are expected to pursue Kyle Kuzma.
I don't know.
We can skip to the Kyle Kuzma talks. I'll start
The
first.
biggest name is Jimmy Butler.
I think I'll start because the Warriors are in every talk, which makes sense. I feel like they need to be. I feel like Jimmy Butler, he's a weird one because I feel like he makes sense in theory because he's kind of the star that you want to pair next to Steph Curry. You know, he's a guy who's pretty selfless in his game where he doesn't really need to be a number one. You know, he's still a solid defender, really good playmaker, still strong enough to where he can get to the rim, has the midi to his game, ball handling not too crazy. And I think he's on expiring. So if you do trade for him, you're probably not going to give up a whole ton. Probably just Wiggins, maybe a pick, and a young player you probably don't even care for anymore.
Giving up Wiggins is tough.
And that's the brutal part.
Really well.
But at the same time, if you get back a really good Jimmy Butler, then all that shit
Wiggins,
it throws out the window. And also on top of that, like, yeah, he's on expiring, but Steph is 36, 37 years old. You know, Draymond's 34 years old. You kind of have to make these moves now and say, fuck the future if you really care about Steph and him wanting to compete at the highest levels. But I think DFS and Dennis Schroeder seem, I hope I said his last name right. I feel like those two sound more reasonable. I think you can move Moody, you can move DeAnthony Melton, who they've been hovering around. I think Nets, they want, you know, in a protected, heavily protected first or a couple seconds to grab those two players. Because I think at this point, Pod sucks. And I think,
willing to move him?
Yeah. And I think Dennis is a really good player. He's always been a really good player, like a really good backup, solid point guard, brings some tenacity to the game. DFS brings you another big wing that can hit the three ball and play defense next to Wiggins. And I think that would be huge. I think Cam, you could probably move Moody's contract and Kuminga, but I think you would probably give too much up for Cam Johnson. So I think for me, realistically, Dennis, DFS. Jimmy's realistic. I just don't know if they'll pull the trigger. That's for me. I don't know. Golden State has never been one to really send out a ton of picks or, you know, really embrace the whole give up a lot to get less thing. So I don't know if Mike Dunleavy, he's a new guy, so I don't know if he's going to be willing to pull the trigger. But if he does, shit, Steph, Jimmy, Dre, I'm all for it. You know, get this guy another star. You saw last game against the Timberwolves, Steph still has it in him, you know, to do those things. You know, you saw Buddy Hield, when he can play well, they wake up, you know, and then Draymond's still that defensive demon that he is. So that's where I'm at with it.
Right. I'd rather see Cam Johnson in a place like Cleveland. 'Cause I think in Golden State, he would obviously fit, but defensively playing him, Buddy Hield, and Steph wouldn't be optimal for you guys going to the playoff run. But I look at Cam Johnson destinations. We're talking about one of the NBA's best shooters, someone that's averaging 18 a game. He can still scale down to 14, fitting perfectly as a fifth starter. And there's so many teams that could use that as that small forward like Cleveland, to where I think he will get moved this deadline for up to 2 first-round picks if you include a little bit extra for Brooklyn on that side. But I just don't see Golden State as that team. I think the Cavaliers making that one last move would, one, be realistic, and two, make for a big change in the Eastern Conference.
Jimmy Butler or Cam?
I'm talking about Cam Johnson, not Jimmy.
Okay.
Yeah. Jimmy Butler's
I
don't think Jimmy Butler gets traded because the Miami Heat aren't a team that leaks a whole lot. They're like the Pittsburgh Steelers of the NBA. So when something like that gets reported, I think I have to see the actual like source of it. And the likelihood of him being traded at 35 years old on expiring contract is slim because the Heat aren't going to get a whole lot. And I think they would rather just let him walk in free agency or just let the year play out before they make a move like that, which would completely sink their chances of winning a playoff series, even though I think those are quite slim already.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably not going to win a playoff series
No, I don't
regardless.
see it.
Probably
I don't
should have
see it.
traded Jimmy Butler a couple of years ago.
Oh,
should've-
come on. They were a 1 seed.
They
going to
grab a
the
4th
finals.
seed randomly.
I mean, they were the 8th seed. They go to the NBA Finals. The value's pretty fucking high at that point,
It
but
was
they
your
kept
fault.
on to him. Huh?
It was your fault.
Yeah, it's not their fault for not trading him. I think for the Warriors though, I mean, we got the report like a week ago, maybe around then, that they're looking for another star.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler fits like the star mold, but I agree, John. I don't know if, or Riv, I think you guys both said, I don't know if Jimmy Butler's the move to make for the Warriors. Adding a couple of really good role players like Cam Johnson and Dennis Schroeder, role players plus at this point, I think that's a more natural fit with Steph Curry, with Draymond, what they got going on now. But I do think Jimmy Butler, if I'm the Heat, I'll be looking to move him. There is no reason why you should keep him on this team. There is no world you are doing anything this season. The Miami Heat, at absolute best case scenario, they managed to get in at like a 6 or 7 seed because the East is just so damn weak, or maybe even a 5 seed and you could play like in Orlando and like maybe that's your path. But outside of that, I don't see them being Boston. I don't see them being the Knicks. I don't see them being the Cleveland Cavaliers. And they're going to have a much better regular season for them to even get up into that, 4, 5, 6 seed in the Eastern Conference. So there's if you have a chance to move Jimmy Butler and you could get anything, I don't really care if you don't think you're getting the best value for him. You might as well move off of him. Give the keys to Tyler Hero like you're seeing. He's doing a really good job of it now, and try to build something for the future, because obviously you got Spo. You got a team that has a track record of winning. Jimmy Butler is holding you back more than anything right now, because he's just going to make you good enough to make the first round of the playoffs and get bounced. Move off him, try to bottom out a bit, or at least bottom
Get a
out
lot
as
of
much
respect.
as you can in the Eastern Conferences. They're going to be like probably still the fucking 8 or 9 seed, because they're going to have a decent team and the best coach in the NBA. But yeah, for the Warriors, I'd like to see them go after like a Cam Johnson type to fit in more than Jimmy Butler. Miami should still look to move him.
I feel like Jimmy Butler is going to be so hard to trade for him, because in the Warriors case, they're going to have to trade like 5 players to match the salary.
What's he
so
making?
much money.
At least
59
50.
million?
Yeah.
59
Close to
crazy.
60.
That's Wiggins, Moody. We're at 41.
Milton.
Milton. Hey.
It's Milton.
We're at
It's
53.
Melton.
He's making
Melton.
12 M's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
1 year,
Just
12
1 year.
mil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in
miss
the
him every
article,
day.
it said that Jimmy Butler is interested in 3 places. The 2 Texas teams, the Mavericks and the Rockets,
Okay.
and the Warriors. I have some Jimmy Butler trade packages for those 3 teams. The Mavericks are out, so I lied about the trade package, because they would have to trade
All their depth.
4+
Yeah.
key rotational players. I'm talking about PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, Najee Marshall, potentially Klay Thompson. It's not worth it for the Mavericks at this point for a 1-year rental. It's just not. So I really honed in on the Warriors and the Rockets. The Warriors trade package, and this is just from a contractual standpoint, so obviously picks could be added on.
Got any picks?
Andrew Wiggins, DeAnthony Melton, Jonathan Kuminga, and Santos.
Go Santos.
Guy Santos.
Oh, shit. He's on the roster. No picks. Just,
You'd have to
It
price
would
it
have
on
to be a
Oh,
pick.
you
first,
You're not down
seconds.
to pick.
he definitely.
first
But
round.
you are
I mean,
giving up Wiggins
if
and
you're giving up
Kuminga.
Kuminga and Wiggins, I don't know if you really got to give up picks.
That's why I don't think
Yeah,
if
I
you
think-
try to
think
keep
so.
Kuminga and give up a pick.
So
That's
this
what
would
gets-
work.
You need Kuminga
That's
to
a
make the
good
money work.
foundation in the deal. I think you had like a lightly protected
add Moody.
first.
Did they make it the same?
Lightly protected
Moody makes
first.
more.
I think the Heat would want a little bit of draft capital, and that could be intriguing.
If I'm the
Moody
Heat
makes-
and I could get Jonathan Kuminga and maybe Andrew Wiggins, so
Yeah.
if he keeps us up, could
You
be
have to
another
pay
tradable
Kuminga.
asset.
Yeah.
True. But shit, I mean, I'd rather get Kuminga than some heavily protected first round pick that's going
And you think about it, Kuminga with Hero, with Bam,
Wiggins is there.
with Khalil
They're
Ware.
like a little playing team.
Yeah, they have some young talent. Now, if the Warriors don't want to add in Wiggins, the trade package would be Melton, GP2, Kyle Anderson, Kevon Looney, Kuminga, and Guy Santos.
I'm sending the roster.
You're sending 6 players to match the salary,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, if you could keep Wiggins, though, the way he's been playing, I wouldn't
If
be
you
mad.
can keep Wiggins, I'm off. Send all the picks in the world.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Then we have Steph,
very well.
Wiggins, Jimmy, Dre, whoever's
Yeah,
at
you're
the
gonna need
5.
Wiggins at that
That'll
3
move me.
spot.
That'll move
A
me
lot.
tremendously.
I think that would be a great move for the Warriors.
That'll move me tremendously. And then you keep Pods up the bench. And then you have Kai Anderson still, who I think when
Still got
he
Buddy.
plays, he play. You have Buddy. Yeah, that'll move me the most
Yeah.
for sure.
If you could keep Wiggins, that's a fact.
But you won't. I don't think you'll be able to keep Wiggs.
The easiest pathway to getting a trade done, I think, is with the Rockets because they have a lot of contracts that can potentially
young
match
players,
Jimmy Butler's money and salary. The Rockets' first trade package: Fred VanVleet and Tari Eason.
Ooh.
Go,
How
Tari?
about Cam? Said of Tari.
I thought
What's
Tari's
Cam's
untouchable.
value?
Yeah,
Tari. They said Tari's
Whitmore.
untouchable.
Cam Whitmore and Tari. Now we're talking a little bit. Cam.
For both of them?
Honestly, if I'm
Yeah.
Miami, I would just
Jimmy?
accept it
This
if
is
they
Jimmy
give me
Butler,
Tari.
bro.
That's
This
fact.
is Jimmy on a 1 year.
Yes.
I
You get his
think.
bird rights. I mean, that helps resigning.
I'll be
More likely to
honest.
retain
If
him.
I'm the Rockets, I'm not giving up Tari for a 1 year rental.
Nah.
I
If it's-
agree.
unless it's
if I were
longer.
Houston, I'm not doing that. If I'm Miami, I'd want more.
Oh, so
Oh,
neither way it's
yeah,
happening.
I don't know. For Miami, I would take Tari Eason. I wouldn't think twice about
Yeah,
it.
if I'm
yeah, what's the better
Miami, I'm
package?
taking Fred and
Yeah.
Tari. I'm good. Like
So, like
yeah.
I said, this is just to match the
Hey,
salaries.
that lines up a men too. Could get in the starting rotation.
This salary works.
I'm definitely
This
not
is
gonna
the
choose
second trade package I have cooked up, and I think this is more realistic.
Yeah.
Dylan Brooks, because now a wing starting
Positionally,
spot
yeah.
opens up for Jimmy Butler. Steven Adams is also in the trade, salary filler. Aaron Holiday, Cam Whitmore, a 2025 first round pick, and a 2027 first round pick from Phoenix.
2 first and Cam Whitmore is decent. I like that.
I don't hate it.
2 first, Whitmore, Dylan Brooks, and Adams could be like
Hey,
a
that,
backup.
that
center.
27 first could be something though.
It definitely could. You're gonna want more for Jimmy, but again, that expiring deal makes his trade value like
If I'm
2 stars,
Miami, I could
2
get
stars.
2 first round picks, one of them being Phoenix's pick and Cam
I
Whitmore.
think
Like,
Cam
look
Whitmore
good.
is a lot of upside in a place like Miami.
And if
For
you're the
sure.
Rockets, you would have Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green, Jimmy Butler, Jabari still,
we don't gotta include Jalen
Şengün,
Green.
Tari Eason, Amen Thompson.